Yay, so that was Camera Obscura with Troublemaker.
Yes, and it is now 8:59, which means one thing.
Oh no, it's 9 o'clock now.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Which means we have the live news and weather from Rhys Williams and
Sabrina Lee. Yay.
So, take over, guys.
Yeah, that's that one is.
The University of Reading has kicked off its 19th annual Fund telephone campaign. Every year, the university runs 2 telephone campaigns in which a team of current students telephone Reading alumni to update them on university news and to seek their support for the annual fund. The success of the annual fund has enabled the university to award a number of bursaries to students that would otherwise have not been able to consider going to university. One area that benefits from the annual fund is student support bursaries. These bursaries support new students that come from either a focus school, which traditionally have a low number of students that go on to higher education, or to students that have spent time in local authority care and will need additional support as they leave the care system. The team started their campaign last night and will be contacting around 2,000 graduates over the next 5 weeks. The number of obese adults in the UK could be reduced by 180,000 with a 20% tax on sugary drinks, say researchers at the University of Oxford and the University of Reading. The tax could raise over £275 million for the Treasury. The researchers from the British Heart Foundation Health Promotion Research Group at the University of Oxford and the Centre for Food Security at the University of Reading have published their findings in the British Medical Journal. Sugary drinks have been shown to increase the risk of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease and tooth decay. Professor Richard Tiffin, Director of the Centre for Food Security at the University of Reading, was a co-author on the study. He said, "Obesity is a ticking time bomb. Doing nothing risks condemning millions of people to poor health and an early grave. This is a complex battle in which a soft drinks tax could be a useful weapon, but on its own would not go far enough in the face of such a massive problem." Lecturers and support staff at the University of Reading staged a walkout last Thursday as part of a nationwide action by the University and College Union over pay. Unions say there is a strong support for the action, and in total, 149 institutions were affected. But university employers say that support for the strike is not widespread, and disruption has been minimal. Union members say their pay has failed to keep up with the rising living costs and have rejected a 1% pay offer. But university employers say the vast majority of staff think the offer is fair. Many lectures were cancelled on Thursday as academic staff staged their walkout. Paul Hatcher, president of the Reading branch of the UCU, said that lecturers have had less than a 1% pay rise since 2009, which means that, due to inflation, lecturers have seen a 15% drop in their earnings in real terms since 4 years ago. Mr. Hatcher said that the unions have held off strike action for a number of years, and this was a last resort. Reading's dictionary of 1.4 million global species has migrated to Holland. The University of Reading has announced that its work in creating a unique list of all life on Earth is set to be continued by a leading research centre in Holland. The Catalogue of Life, which the University of Reading began in 1997, holds essential information on the names, relationships and distributions of over 70% of known species. Dr. Alistair Cullum from the University of Reading School of Biological Sciences said, "We are enormously proud to have begun this wonderful dictionary of global species, which is now used around the world as a vital biodiversity research resource. To understand the rate at which species are dying out, we need to know how many there are and where they live to begin with. That information didn't exist in one place before the UK Catalogue of Life." In UK news, some of Britain's lowest paid workers could get pay rises under plans drawn up by Labour leader Ed Miliband. If the party wins the next election, Mr Miliband plans to offer firms a 12-month tax break in 2016 if they agree to pay the living wage to their employers. When asked, the government said it encouraged firms to pay their lowest paid staff more, provided it did not cost jobs. The living wage is an informal benchmark based on the amount an individual needs to earn to cover the basic costs of living. It is set at £8.55 an hour in London and £7.45 an hour in the rest of the UK. Under the proposals put forward by Mr Miliband, private firms would be able to claim back about a third of the cost of raising their staff members' wages to the living wage, amounting to £445 a year on average per worker. Conservative former Chancellor Ken Clarke said Mr Miliband's proposals were ill-judged electoral bribery that employers and the economy could ill afford. The living wage announcement comes ahead of a speech on Tuesday in which Mr Miliband is expected to say that tackling low incomes is key to solving squeezed living standards. He is expected to warn that Britain risks an era of growth without prosperity as wages stagnate while household costs continue to rise. That's all for the news this morning from me, Rhys Williams. Now to Sabrina Lee for the weather.
Good morning. The rain that came through Reading in the early hours has now cleared eastwards, and today's weather outlook looks quite promising. Low pressure is to the east of the UK, which means that Reading looks to have a settled, dry day today. Not too much cloud around, which means sunny intervals are expected. The winds are coming from a northwesterly direction. Not too strong, but will feel chilly, affecting temperatures. Single-figure temperatures expected, with a high of around 9 degrees Celsius. This is lower to what we have been used to recently. If we look at the next few days, it looks cloudier and showery, so make the most of the dry weather today. In summary, a pleasant day ahead, but my advice is to add an extra layer to ease that chill.